Portimao to Jerez, JuniorGP continues on its grand tour in search for its 2024 champion. Alvaro Carpi rides the crest of a wave after taking 2 victories in the last 3 races, leading the JuniorGP championship by just 2 points over Jesus Rios and Marcos Uriarte. But he's not the only Uriarte on the grid this weekend, as Brian Uriarte makes his debut. 13 iconic corners gracing the names of legends of two-wheeled motorcycle racing put to the test the skill and demand of rider and machine alike. Some say it's where the best and the brightest begin their journey to ultimate glory and greats become legends. All we know is it's JuniorGP. Well, it's bright and sunny here at Jerez. Circuito de Jerez, Angel Nieto, which was opened back in 1987, and we've had two-wheeled racing ever since. We've got 6 races for you here today, starting off with JuniorGP at 11 o'clock local time, followed by European Talent Cup Race 1, Moto 2, then back to JuniorGP Race number 2 coming up at 2 o'clock before European Talent Cup at 3, and then rounding it all off at 4 o'clock local time will be Stock European Championship. I'm Liam Hodgins, and taking me on this journey in Jerez today is my cohort in crime, Connor Doherty. Connor, welcome once again. And well, before we get into introducing Connor, we'll have a quick look back at what happened last time out in JuniorGP. It was Marcos Uriarte in Bike 89 who entered round 4 with the championship advantage, but would he maintain the championship advantage over Jesus Rios? But as the racing began, it was Alvaro Carpi, Casey O'Gorman, and of course, many of the Australia Galicia machines in the battle. But it was Guido Pini making his debut that almost took victory, but Alvaro Carpi took back-to-back victories after his first one in Catalunya. But for race number 2, Guido Pini, the debutant, starting for pole position once more, was coming under a lot of pressure from the Australia Galicia machines, but Carpi once more wanted his 3rd win on the trot. There was a few crashes further back. Evan Belford on the MLAV racing machine was one of them, and that was Marossi on the Aspar team crashing out over the top of the hill. Once more, it was Guido Pini leading the way, and nobody could stop the Italian, and only his 2nd race, his debut weekend, taking victory in Portimao. Well, look at the sky, there's not a cloud in sight. The Teo Pepe monument on the left-hand side looks over the Jerez circuit with gusto. And I would like to welcome my cohort in crime. I introduced him a second ago, but it's Connor Doherty, returning once more after Mizano. Connor, welcome back. It's great to have you again.
Liam, it's great to be with you here in the south of Spain. It feels like autumn is yet to touch Jerez, and we're here enjoying the sun, and we're going to be enjoying some fantastic racing later.
Yeah, looking forward to 6 incredible races coming up for you here today, all starting underneath the iconic UFO, which was first installed back in 2002, as we watch the JuniorGP riders make the way around the circuit. And we're watching the number 96 because in only his 2nd weekend, he has taken his 2nd pole position here at Jerez.
Well, I was comfortable today. It was really hot, but me and the team and all the staff, we did an amazing job, amazing qualifying, the amazing weekend, all the time alone, pushing alone. And after we see the result, I can do the qualifying alone with my pace, and I'm really happy for this. But tomorrow will be another day, will be race day, and looking forward. Yeah, it's important take most points possible, but I don't think about the championship, just race by race, and I want to win, and just this, win the 2 races will be amazing. But let's see, the race is always so difficult, but me and my teammates, we will try to do the best.
A 1:45.321 is the pole time for Guido Pini. The number 96 rolled his way to the grid. And the interesting part there, I have to take away from the interview yesterday, he's not thinking of the championship corner. He scored 45 points back in Portimao. Guess how far he is off Alvaro Carpi, your championship leader?
You could tell me, Liam.
It's 45 points he has off Alvaro Carpe. In one race, it can all change. That is how close JuniorGP in 2024 is. Your pole sitter, your first-time race winner back in Portimao after missing much of the season due to a pre-season injury in another category. He's on pole position, waves to the camera, and he will be looking to eat into that championship advantage. And with 5 races still to go, anything can happen.
And we heard him earlier as well, that confidence, riding alone in qualifying, didn't need to be with the pack. He was happy to do it by himself, and he got the job done. What more can you ask of a rider?
Exactly. We were watching Q2 from where the crowd are watching over the top of the paddock, and Guido Pini was just, as you said, all by himself, doing the laps, ticking them all off by himself, while everyone else was on the other end of the circuit, really just scrapping each other up a little bit, while Guido Pini was just ticking off the laps, and that's why he took pole position by almost 0.3 of a second ahead of his teammate, Brian Uriarte. We did say at the top of the show, he is the second Uriarte on the grid. Marcos, his cousin, is of course part of the championship battle, 2 points behind Alvaro Carpe, but Brian Uriarte, who comes into his first JuniorGP weekend, he was on the intro list for the start of the season. However, he was not old enough to begin the season. He turned 16 on the 11th of August last month, and that means he is old enough and qualifies for entry in JuniorGP. But here is your championship leader. After wrapping up the Red Bull Rookies Cup title last weekend, he's looking to become only the 3rd rider in history to do the double. Of course, Jose Antonio Rueda and Angel Piquerso going on to the World Championship in Moto3, with the other 2 in the last 2 years. Alvaro Carpe is hoping to make it a junior double in the lower categories. And, well, the way he's been going recently, 2 race wins and 3 podiums in the last 3, Connor.
He's been
it looks like he's on start.
Very impressive, as has Jesus Rios, the local lad from Andalusia, from Marbella. He's been sensational this season. Just look at those results. Maybe he's lacking a bit of consistency, which is something that you can build over the course of a season, but he won the first race. He's been one of the most impressive candidates for the title so far for me in this JuniorGP campaign. Yeah,
Jesus Rios, consistency, you hit the nail right on the head there, Connor. He has been up and down like a yo-yo, you have to say. Either win it or, well, he's not even stood in the podium unless he's winning the races.
You've got to get everything.
Exactly.
Maximo Aquiles as well, he's been sensational.
Yeah, first podium in Portimao, race number 2. He did have a bit of a nasty crash last weekend in the Red Bull Rookies Cup, but it's good to see him back here and starting from 5th place on the grid. And it's quite interesting looking at his last 3 results, a 4th, 4th and a 2nd. He's had quite a troubled start to the season. Of course, remember back in race number 1 in Misano, he struggled to get away from the line, had to start from pit lane and then crashed only in the early laps of the race. But Max Kila is another rider to watch out for, as is the rider that beat him to 4th in the Cup standings last weekend, Rico Salmela, the young Finnish rider who, over the course of the 10-week break that we've been away, he's had a bit of a growth spurt, has Rico Salmela. He was one of the most diminutive riders in all of JuniorGP, but he's grown quite a lot since we last saw him. He's had a bit of a growth spurt, and not far off how tall me and you are now, Connor.
Well, I'm not gonna get out my measuring tape here, Liam. But yeah, he's been very fantastic.
All I can say is I've got a little bit more head height on me than you do, but it's the only thing I'm winning this weekend. So the riders are ready to start. We will be getting underway in 6 minutes time. Fernando Yambias, a rider that has been showing good speed so far this year. He had a 3rd season in class with the Australia Galicia team, the Monlau squad. You can see their best result is 6th place in Catalonia race number 1, which was a bit of a shame. He was demoted 1 position on the final lap after touching the green, which was track limits on the final lap. He did cross the line in 5th, was demoted back to 6th. And the unfortunate stat about that is that means he equalled his best ever result in the class. Can Fernando Yambias from 7th on the grid go even further? Casey O'Gorman, the Irish rider, picked up his podium back in Portimao. He's been showing some good form as of late. A couple of top 5s in the early part of the season, went a miss in the middle part, but in the last couple he has been showing good speed. And will another podium beckon for the young Irish rider? I know that our colleague Chris Jordan, the other Irish man on the mic usually, he was hoping to be around for Casey O'Gorman's first ever victory. So we hope he does it here today. For the British fans, for the Irish fans, it'd be good to see, but I'm sure Chris Jordan will be watching from home and hoping he does it when he's next on the
Can't forget as well that he crashed out P2 at Estoril.
He did, yes. Such a shame he crashed out from second in Estoril. It looked like he was on good form in that race. Hakim Danish, the young Malaysian rider, a rider that was so close to victory here 1 year ago in the European Talent Cup, was in that majestic battle with Guido Pini, Max Quiles, Dodo Boggio and the like, but went for the lead into turn number 6, patrols a corner and took the front and just missing out in race win there. Can he do, or can he rectify that here today?
Just know what it's like to be on the podium at this circuit, Liam.
He does indeed, yeah. 2 podiums so far this season for Cruces. He has sort of dropped off the boil a little bit the last couple of rounds, but as you said, Connor, someone that's really adapted to this Jerez circuit. And well, you might be interviewing him after race number 1 today and asking him how victory tastes here in Jerez. We shall see.
He'll be hoping so.
He'll be hoping so, indeed. Now, Eddie O'Shea, he had a bit of a tumultuous Saturday, sporting a brand new helmet design. He is in his final ever Junior GP weekend. He's had 1 podium in the class and it came here 2 years ago. He'll be hoping to go out on a high with podium or potential tasting that Prosecco Doc on the top step of the podium. He was disqualified from practice yesterday after being 1.4 kilos underweight. He was joking with us yesterday. He's going to have to go eat a McDonald's or something like that just to add on the weight, but I'm sure that he'll be absolutely fine for the racing here today. But came through Q1, qualified inside the top 10. So watch out for Eddie O'Shea on the number 8 M-Lab machine.
Here we do have the starting grid there. It's Guido Pini who's leading from pole. He's followed by Brian Ariadne and Alvaro Carpe on the front row. Behind them, Rios, Quiles and Salmela. And on the third row, Yambies, O'Gorman and Danish. On row 4, Adrian Cruces, O'Shea, Rosenthaler. Row 5, Moodley, Morosi and Uriarty. Row 6, Powerleg, Ramastofa and Mononyane. On row 7, we've got Famara, Sharil and Belford. Row 8, Aritama, Liguori and Van Tricht. Row 9, Abruzzo, Tiezzi and Ikiumi. And behind them, on row 10, Fuetsan, Odaki, Farkas and, from the back, row 11, Boggio and Buchanan.
So as the riders get ready to start their warm-up lap, 2 riders you just mentioned there at the back of the grid, Connor, Boggio and Buchanan. Watch out for them from the back row of the grid. Buchanan so far this season has been showing great form. He's been absolutely rapid, has the number 14 on the AGR machine, so watch out for the number 14 chopping his way through the field in race number 1 here today. But as we were speaking about at the top of the show, Guido Pini took pole position by almost 0.2 of a second, and he's had 0.2 of a second over everyone else most of this weekend so far. But can anyone stop the number 96 on the 72 Artbox Racing Team machine? Could it potentially be his debutant teammate on number 51? Just leading that group away around the warm-up lap is Brian Uriarty. He's riding on crest of wave is Brian after a fantastic season in the Red Bull Rookies Cup. What can he do here today? It's sunny conditions. Track temperature is a little bit lower than what we expect later on today. 24 air temperature, 33 degrees Celsius track, and we have 9-kilometer wind resistance, which has been a talking point so far this weekend, Connor, hasn't it? The wind. Some riders have felt that it's been quite strong at parts throughout the weekend. It's been really affecting them on the straight, and in some areas, the turns 11 and 12, the fast right-handers has been getting underneath the front wheel, and we've had a few crashes at those corners this weekend.
Yeah, we have. It's just a matter of trying to manage that, I think, for the riders, but it has been difficult for some, and we've also seen that the temperatures have risen quite a lot going into the afternoon, which has meant that we've seen some faster laps in the morning compared to the afternoon. So lots for the riders to manage here.
Yeah, indeed. When it comes to race number 2 at 2 o'clock local time here today, track conditions and of course air temperatures will be much higher. Track will become a little bit greaser, so it will play an effect on the tyres. We did see the championship standings, 2 points separate the top three. Alvaro Carpi 2 points ahead of Rios and Marcos Uriarte, with Adrian Cruces on bike number 11, 7 points further back. What can Guido Pini do about the championship? He's 45 points back, and as we spoke about back in Portimao, he took 45 points in that one weekend. If he does more of the same, he will be well and truly in championship contention. We have 32 Junior GP riders all ready and waiting and ready to go when the red lights go out. We will have Revs Rise and Guido Pini, Brian Uriarte and Alvaro Carpi, your championship leader, are the front row. Revs Rise, and it'll be lights out now, and a good start it looked like from Carpi, but Brian Uriarte from the middle of the front row gets a super start. Guido Pini drops back a little bit more, 54 of Rios, he's going for the lead in turn number 1, but Uriarte, the debutant and Junior GP this weekend, leads away, not just leading, he's leading by an absolute mile. That's about 5 or 6 bike lengths from Rios. Carpi, your championship leader, he slots into third, and it looks like that might be Rios, Rios is a little bit further up, but it might be Quiles on the number 28. No, it's actually Yambias in 4th spot. So the Uruguayan rider from the 7th on the grid is in 7th, but he's dropped a little bit further back, is now Pini, and it looks like Salmela on the number 27 have slotted into 4th and 5th position. But as we power down the back straight into Pedrosa corner, it's Brian Uriarte who's leapt away at the front.
An absolutely fantastic start from Uriarte. He's really showing us what he's capable of. Jesus Rios as well, got away well. He's going to be in a good position to try and maintain his push for the title as well. Just 2 points behind Carpi as well.
Yeah, those 2 points will be well and truly something we'll have to keep an eye on. Further back, we have to look out for Buchanan and of course Boggio, but we'll talk about them a little bit later on. But for now, as we approach the stadium section into turns 9 and 10, it's Uriarte from Carpi, from Rios on bike number 54. Pini, your pole sector, he's dropped back to 4th as he flashed past the curb cam. Great shots as we see the riders battling through turns 9 and 10 into 11 and 12, where we've seen a few crashes so far this weekend riding the curves, but for now no such problem for your top dozen and a bit. So into Lorenzo corner, turn number 13, where we've seen so many overtakes. We see the number 4 up the inside of a few riders there. That was Pawlik. He's had a good weekend so far, has the Polish rider, one of his strongest weekends so far for the number 4. But across the line for lap number 1 is Uriarte from Carpi, Rios, Pini, Salmela, Yambias, Quiles, Danish, Cruces and O'Gorman running at your top 10. So a bit of a sluggish start there from Danish, who's dropped a couple of positions back down to 9th. O'Shea, who started from the top 10, he's dropped into 12th spot, but watch out for the number 8. He usually does come strong later on in the races.
I think this battle between Carpi and Rios is going to be really one to watch. Just 2 points separate them in the standings. They're going to be going at it throughout these 14 laps that we've still got left.
Yeah, there will be lots of chopping and changing throughout the remainder of the race. Alvaro Carpi did take a double second place here 1 year ago behind Piqueras and David Almanza. Quiles at number 28, almost riding the grass. He was all well and truly on the blue as there's a few riders further back, and that's Salmela's getting pushed off. I think that was Quiles who ran a little bit deep. Salmela pushed a little bit further wide. Potentially was indeed. That's allowed Gambias and Danish through. Danish has gained about 4 positions there with that squabbling going on, but that's just allowed the top 4 to break away ever so slightly, Connor.
Yeah, it's really playing into their hands.
As we've got a move by Yambias into turn number 9. That was as clean a move as you like from the Uruguayan rider Yambias on bike number 94. And he's telling Danish and the rest of them to tag on. So Yambias, you can imagine Quiles, his teammate, will absolutely not listen to that. It's like a red rag to a bull telling the riders behind to follow me, and I'll tow you up to the leading group.
Well, they've got to do something to narrow this gap, because these 4 do look like they might be able to escape here.
Yeah, they do indeed. Guido Pini, he's moved past, well, one of the championship contenders, Jesus Rios, into 3rd position. As we cross the line, it's Uriarte, still leading the way 3/10 of a second ahead of Alvaro Carpi, Guido Pini and Jesus Rios. On the previous lap, it was Guido Pini that was slightly faster. We just have it flashed up at 45.4. He was only a couple hundredths faster than his teammate Brian Uriarte. Now Quiles, he's back to the front of the second group in 5th position. Will he be able to tow Yambias and the rest? And that's Sama on the Honda Astra team machine, so that's a difficult start for the young Indonesian. Yambias.
Yambias as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's the case. Yambias looks like he's just flashed into position behind us. Yes, he is on the number 94. So don't worry, Uruguay, we still have.
Don't worry, Uruguay.
Yeah, so we still
there
have.
We go. There's the graphic.
Yeah, it's Hakim Danish's crash apparently, but I don't think that's the case. That is RB Adetama, we just saw there with his head in his hands. He looks like he's the one that has come a cropper of the Jerez circuit so far. So back at the front, the top four still leading the way, but nobody can lay a glove on Brian Uriarte. Brian Uriarte on this lap so far, he's got the gap up to half a second, so Brian Uriarte is away and running from his former championship contender in Red Bull Rookies Cup, Alvaro Carpi. Alvaro Carpi so far cannot lay a glove on the number 51. It looks like he's now starting to hold up Guido Pini and Jesus Rios. Pini, he'll be looking for a move into turn 13. Lorenzo corner. We've got 4 riders in shot now, but Guido Pini makes a move on the inside. Clean as you like. Carpi looks over and maybe he's seeing if anyone else is coming through. Rios had a little bit of a look on corner exit but couldn't quite make it. We'll check what the gap is as you cross the line now to start lap number 4. Will we see a fast lap? Yes, well, of course we do. It's Brian Uriarte at 1:45.1. He was 0.3 of a second faster than Pini and 0.7 of a second faster than Carpi. He's dropped another position behind Jesus Rios. Keyless, indeed, he has crashed out. That's a shame for Keyless. He was pushing on that lap. He has crashed out. We're not sure whereabouts he's crashed. It might be the final corner. We'll get a replay of it now. So we're just watching the bike get tagged away. That might be a stadium section before the end of the lap. Head and hands for Max Keyless. The last few weeks for the young Spanish rider on the number 20 have been a complete disaster, but thankfully he was up and okay and able to walk away. Well, that's allowed Yambias to take over the front of the second group. Samela looked like further back was making a move into turn number 6, but we look at Guido Pini, your pole sector, the number 96. What can he do on this lap to pull in Brian Uriarte, who has been absolutely sensational? Oh, a bit of a bobble there. A bit of a bobble there for the number 51. He really is pressing on, but what is he doing to his tyres? Are this 3 just holding back ever so slightly? Just a reminder, Brian Uriarte is in his first weekend here in JuniorGP. We do have some hazardous lights, it looks like, the red and yellow, so maybe there's some liquid down from the crash of Max Keyless on the previous lap, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Hopefully the riders to here will be absolutely okay. It seems to be they are on this lap.
Just on Uriarte, it's only been a month and 4 days, I think, that he's been old enough to compete in this class, which is just sensational, and now he's leading it.
And leading it absolutely brilliantly. Yeah, absolutely right there, yeah. A month and 4 days, can you believe it? Brian Uriarte, who's been such a stalwart of the European
August,
Talent
if anyone
Cup.
wants to send him a card. Next year, then.
Yeah, indeed, yeah. When he turns 17, you can send him a birthday card on the 11th of August. Connor providing the birthday details in case you want to send him that way. There's Eddie O'Shea at the back of this group. He'll be, well, coming through like a hot knife through butter, you can imagine, on the MLab machine. He'll be moving into the Moto3 World Championship in 2 weeks' time in Indonesia. As Casey O'Gorman on 67 chops in front of his teammate Yambias, and Cruces on the 11 follows through as well as they come down the back straight. So, chopping and changing 6, 7, 8 abreast. It's Cruces into Pedrosa corner, and he takes over the front of the battle for 4th place from O'Gorman. And we've also got Rosenthal in the 78 in there as well. He has been coming under bad pressure from the rest of the riders in the previous rounds before the summer break after causing maybe a few too many collisions in JuniorGP, and hopefully the summer break has done him well, and he'll be well and truly keeping his nose clean in this race by chopping the nose off his teammate Rico Samela into the stadium section.
Yeah, Cruces has been an impressive rider so far this season. More than capable of getting another top 5 finish.
That's Rios. Sorry to jump ahead of you, Connor, but that's Rios coming out of turn number 12. He's tumbled through the gravel trap, so not sure there. He's gone a long way down to some gravel on the track as well. I wonder if he's tagged up with either Pini or Carpi. He's trying to get that bike going again, but thankfully we did see him tumbling through the gravel there, but he is up on his feet. Here we go. Now, so he just had a high side. Yes, it looks like he has it all over the top and over the front. Had a bit of a kick from the bike. Rios, your former championship leader, was only 2 points behind the rider that was behind him on track, Alvaro Carpi. So that's done a disaster for his championship aspirations so far, as Alvaro Carpi just watched it all unfold in front of him. But Connor, that's such a shame for Rios, who was showing great form in this race so far.
Yeah, Rios will be tremendously disappointed. He'll try and make up for it in the second race if he can, but in front of the home fans as well, Liam, it's going to be a costly one for him, a costly one for his title aspirations. But he's got another shot at it.
He has another shot at it later on today. We hope that he will be okay. He was on his feet for it. So for anyone just joining us, Jesus Rios, he was in third, one of the championship favourites. Crashed out at turn number 12, had a bit of a rear end slide, and over the handlebars he went. So this is how it looks for the championship standings so far. It's Carpi 10 points ahead of Marcos Uriarte. That's the other Uriarte in the race, not the one leading the way at the moment, and Jesus Rios. But I'd like to turn your attention to the battle for first position on the previous lap. Guido Pini was a 10th and a half faster than Brian Uriarte, and on this lap so far, he's already closed the gap down to 0.7 of a second. So Guido Pini, your race winner last time out, he's really motoring on now. If we've just seen the flashes of the yellow and red flags to show there's something on the track, as we saw the gravel from Jesus Rios in the previous lap. And we don't even have to tell you what the gap is now. We can see it on screen, and it's going to be about 3 or 4 tenths of a second. So Uriarte from Pini, the two teammates on the 72 Artbox Racing Team machine, across the line, and on that lap, Guido Pini sets a 45.3 and a 45.9 for Brian Uriarte, who his pace has plummeted on that previous lap.
A 6/10 faster Pini. I think maybe now that he's got no one ahead of him, he's been able to really reduce that gap. He had to fight after that start to get past two other riders. He managed to do that, and now he's just chewing up the asphalt in front of him.
Yeah, it's really motoring on as Guido Pini up to the back of his teammate Brian Uriarte. And we did mention a couple of laps ago, Eddie O'Shea would be like a hot knife through butter on this group. He's gone from the back of it and he's at the front of it. So the number 8 in his final weekend of Junior GP before moving to Moto3 and his debut at Indonesia and Mandalika in 2 weeks' time, leads the way ahead of the second group for the battle for fourth. But leading the way is Uriarte from Pini. Pini is all over the back of his teammate now. So Guido Pini, a little bit of a gesture there from Brian Uriarte to his teammate. Maybe
Hold on.
Yeah, you just slow down there, buddy.
And there it is from Pini. Sensational.
Glorious move.
Can he make it stick?
I think he can. Guido Pini takes over at the front of this race here in Jerez. It looked like maybe Brian Uriarte had a little bit of a look over to his left.
Oh, what a battle this is.
When Pini came through, so maybe the gesture from Brian Uriarte was like, okay, Guido, you can come through. I'll tag onto the back of you for a few laps, see where you're making up the time. We'll see where you're quick, and maybe I'll have a launch up the inside of you into Lorenzo Corner, which we're coming up to now on the final lap of the race. He had a little bit of a look over his shoulder to see how far back Carpi was. Carpi is 2.2 seconds further back from this leading duo.
And for the time being, it's just these two. I'm not sure Uriarte would like to see himself slipping so far behind if he was trying to line up a move later on.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to be coming under any pressure from Alvaro Carpi in third spot. On that previous lap, Carpi lapped 0.6 of a second slower than Brian Uriarte. Well, it's a very different race to what we expected here in Jerez for Junior GP race number 1. We're so used to seeing about 10, 11, 12 bikes battling at the front here at Jerez. But sometimes when you have a duo on track, it's even better, because Brian Uriarte in his first ever weekend in Junior GP is tailgating his more experienced teammate. I can only say more experienced because he's done one extra round that has Guido Pini over Brian Uriarte. He was racing in Portimao his first weekend, took a second place in a victory there. Brian Uriarte will be hoping to do the same, or potentially even more, as we're watching the 72 Motorsport Artbox squad and a couple of mechanics there feeling the pressure a little bit, hopefully, or hoping that the top two won't take each other out. And of course, as we said, Guido Pini 45 points behind Alvaro Carpi in the championship. At this rate, he'll be taking 9 points out of Carpi, which will be down to 36 with 4 races to go.
Yeah, that would be absolutely sensational if he's able to do that. I mean, he showed us what he's capable of in the previous 2 races. And here in qualifying, he's doing it again now in the race.
Oh, that's it. Looks like Boggio and Rosenthaler have gone down at Pedrosa corner, turn number 6. Boggio had a great ride. He was starting from the back of the grid. He was already up inside the top 10. Here we go, replay into Pedrosa corner. Watch out for the number 78. Oh, tags it back of Boggio, and Boggio was just a passenger in that. And once again, we did say a few laps ago, Rosenthaler would be hoping to keep his nose clean. He has been involved in a few of those incidents so far this year. Extremely fast, extremely talented, but just maybe gets himself into hot water a little bit too much. Fingers crossed those two will be able to take the start at race number 2, coming up at 2 o'clock local time here today.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to see them lining up on the grid again, getting that second opportunity here in Jerez.
Now, another rider that we did talk about at the start of the show that was coming from the back of the grid, Cormac Buchanan, the Kiwi rider on bike number 14. He did start from last place all the way back down in 32nd on the grid. He's already inside the points. He's up into, unlucky for some, but maybe lucky for him, position 13.
Well, he'll be hoping to move up even further with that kind of form so far. He's got 7 laps to do so. These two have 7 laps to battle it out as well.
Yeah, and there was a bit of a bobble on the front end for Guido Pini into Pedrosa corner. Now, we have seen at Portimao, Guido Pini is really happy to lead from the front. He led most of the weekend in the races before Carpi did slipstream to the line, and he did manage to pull a half a second advantage in race number 2 to hold off the chasing pack. But will he be looking over his shoulder, maybe with a couple of laps to go, to maybe allow Brian Uriarte to lead onto the final lap, so he can maybe pick up the slipstream coming out of Lorenzo corner, the final corner which we're coming up to now. It is a long drag to the finish line here. However, you're not guaranteed to slipstream past the rider in front if you exit the corner, because you're coming off a slow speed corner, second gear corner on these JuniorGP machines, and if the rider in front gets a better exit, then it's all done and dusted for the rider in second spot. Now, these two have a 4.6 second advantage over Alvaro Carpi, who's in absolute no man's land at the moment on bike number 83. Your championship leader looking to extend that championship advantage over this bar brawl that's going ahead to turn at number 1. Crucius up the inside of O'Gorman. O'Gorman having absolutely none of it. And elbow to elbow between O'Gorman and Crucius gets forced a little bit wide. That might allow Salmela to take advantage. Not quite just yet.
Yeah, this battle for 4th is absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, it's incredible, this battle, and it's so good so far. It seemed like it might have caught your tongue a little bit there, Connor.
No, absolutely. I was just watching.
Yeah, it's a great battle going on for 4th position. And it's a shame it's not for some podium positions, because there's a couple of riders in this group that'll be looking for a podium to have a good send-off in the form of Eddie O'Shea on bike number 8, who's leading this group. Absolutely brilliant. He's another rider that looks happy just leading from the front. It's such a shame that the top 3 are, well, 4 seconds in the hands of Alvaro Carpi up the road and 9 seconds up the road to Uriarte and Pini leading the way. But Hakim Dani, she's looking for his best result of the season. He's in 5th spot at the moment. But Casey O'Gorman, Rico Salmela, and of course Adrian Crucius on bike number 11. Not to mention, just behind them as well, got Paweł Lecz, who's looking superb so far this weekend on bike number 4. He's in 9th ahead of Marcos Uriarte. His championship challenge is really starting to fall off a cliff ever so slightly. Started in Portimao with a DNF and then 90th place finish. He's on bike 89, and behind him we have Rishi Midley, Cormac Buchanan, who we mentioned earlier on, Jambias Morossi and Ramensdorfer are part of this, as well as Linus Pomara on the pink bike at the back of the shot. So, 5 laps to go. Pini still leading the way from Brian Uriarte. There is just 0.3 of a second between the top 2. 6 seconds further back is Carpi, but we're watching this battle for 6th, 7th, 8th, and all the way down to the bottom end of the points. And Rishi Midley, he made a move on Paweł there. It's Cormac Buchanan on bike number 14, and a bit of a look up the inside of Marcos Uriarte. Morossi's in this group as well, just behind Jambias on bike number 94. But Eddie O'Shea on bike 8, the M-Lab Racing Team machine, just brilliantly leading this group so far, as Salmela on 27 had a bit of a look up the inside of Casey O'Gorman. If you've watched the documentary Born Racers, which follows the Red Bull Ricky's Cup riders from last year, you'll know that Rico Salmela and Casey O'Gorman are very good friends, as is Cormac Buchanan. Those 3 are the titanic trio of that series, and always ripping into each other. Really good friends of those three, as we just see Pomara on the pink bike running a little bit wide at Pedrosa corner. So, as we look at this battle for fourth, we'll keep an eye on the gap at the front. It's still under 0.3 of a second between Pini and Brian Uriarte. It's Cruz once again that time makes a stick on the inside of Rico Salmela. That he's moved up into 7th spot, shuffles the Finnish rider back a position. But as all the scrapping and changes going on behind them, Eddie O'Shea on the number 8 bike continues to plough on ahead, as Hakim Danish on the 13 just behind. He's having a bit of a look up the inside of O'Shea into the final corner. Maybe thinks a little bit better of it. Runs a little bit deep, does Danish, but chops in front of Casey O'Gorman, and there's a good 10 riders or so cornering this one. It's been pretty safe and clean so far, but you can imagine it's all going to heat up with 4 laps to go.
Yeah, absolutely. As we go into the final stages of this first race here in Jerez in JuniorGP, it could get very feisty in that battle for fourth.
Yeah,
O'Shea's looking very calm and collected for the time being, though, but the pressure is building on him.
Yeah, we did see him yesterday. We were speaking to him yesterday after he managed to qualify inside the top 10. He felt quietly confident about a good finale for his JuniorGP career here today. As Moodley, we're just seeing the left-hand side of the screen, drops a few positions. Thankfully, it doesn't seem like there's anything gone too wrong there for Rishi Moodley. Just dropped a couple of positions because a couple of riders have just pushed him a little bit wide and come past him. But the top 2, this is an absolute masterclass in controlling the race from these two. Brian Uriarte did get the whole shot at the start of the race, did open up at one point an 0.8 of a second advantage over the chasing pack before Guido Pini took to the head of that pack, closed out his teammate, and has been leading ever since in poetry and motion. The leg dangles into turn 1, Guido Pini on 96, Brian Uriarte's teammate into turn number 1. Just a comparison of slow-mo action there. Very different riding styles from Pini and Uriarte. Guido Pini, talking about a rider that's had a growth spurt. When he won the European Talent Cup Championship 2 years ago, he was a very small character, and over the course of the last couple of years, he's become one of the tallest riders in the paddock. Guido Pini, the doctor's dangle into turn number 1, a very Italian style for Guido Pini. It looks absolutely majestic on that number 96 bike. Further back, Alvaro Carpe just picking up solid 16 points for his championship case.
Yeah, Carpe, you just need to finish the race now. And there we have the standings for the time being. 106 points if it stays like that for the Spaniard. I'm sure he'd be happy with that for race 1.
Yeah, picking up
his lead.
Indeed, picking up important points. He'll be maybe a little bit unhappy that these two have managed to bolt away from him in the manner they have. It's like they're in a completely different county here in Jerez. Nearly the full length of the back straight. These two leading over Alvaro Carpe, who's 9 seconds off these two. These two, the pace has dropped ever so slightly. They're in the 146s now, are the top 2. They're the only 2 inside the 146s. The rest of the riders are in the 147s, so they're about 7-8 tenths faster than the chasing pack. Thankfully for Alvaro Carpe, he's coming under absolutely no pressure from the riders behind. He's got a gap of 8.8 seconds over Eddie O'Shea, who's in 4th spot, who's got another 10, 11, 12 riders chasing him down, which goes all the way back to to KJ Monignani, who's on the back of that group at N17. So if you have a big moment, you can go from the front of the group and find yourself outside of the points with 2 and a bit laps to go.
Yeah, I think the arrival of these two leaders as well in the competition is really shaking things up. I mean, we had a first winner that wasn't either Jesus Rios or Alvaro Carpe last time out in the Algarve. That was Guido Pini. We could see another different winner in the shape of Brian Uriarte here, if he can get ahead of his teammate Guido Pini, who's not going to make it easy for him, but these two have just been absolutely delightful to watch over the course of this entire race.
They've been on another planet, have these two, in JuniorGP race number 1. They're both under the management of Emilio Alzamora, the former 125cc world champion, also the man that took Marc Marquez and Alex Marquez to championship glory in Moto3, Moto2, 125s, and of course, in the hands of Marc Marquez, in MotoGP, the 8-time world champion, and he has another 2 prodigies under his wing, Guido Pini and Brian Uriarte, and they've come into a team that is probably under one of the best management ships you can have in the entire paddock, and to have Emilio Alzamora as your mentor, as your manager, is no mean feat with the amount he's been able to do for the Marquez brothers in MotoGP. But who is it who's going to come out on top here today? The team will be hoping there'll be absolutely no contest from either one of them, because they'll be hands over their faces, hands over their eyes, nails being shown off.
Well, if nothing goes awry, they're going to have a 1-2 in any case.
Indeed, indeed. I mean, Alvaro Carpi is now 11 seconds further back. He'll be hoping that there's a bit of a tangle between these two on the final lap. So, through turn 12, the right hand of the go, into Lorenzo corner for the penultimate time. It's Guido Pini, the race winner last time out in Portimao, leading the way ahead of Brian Uriarte in his first ever Junior GP race. These two have been looking absolutely brilliant so far, but with 1 lap to go, 13 more corners of this Circuito de Jerez, Angel Nieto, Guido Pini on bike number 96. Where will the challenge come from Brian Uriarte into turn 2? Not quite this time. Maybe the end of the back straight into Pedrosa corner. Alvaro Carpi, he's 11 seconds further back. The battle for 4th is continuing on, but we're watching quite rightly this battle for first.
Yeah, Uriarte's going to have to make his move at some point. He'll know when he wants to make it, but whether he's going to be able to pull it off is another matter. These two have been so good all race.
Yeah,
Uriarte's running out of time.
He is indeed, but the first opportunity comes now, powering down the back straight into Pedrosa corner, turn number 6. Who is going to make a legend of themselves into this corner? Not quite just yet. Guido Pini still leading the way, backing in, a bit of a bobble in the front end, a little bit for Brian Uriarte in second position. The 51 chasing the 96.
Yeah, we're going into Aspar corner now.
Yeah, through the left-hander at turn number 7 into turn number 8. The stadium section is upon us. We've seen so much drama over the years and Junior GP into this stadium section, but Brian Uriarte doesn't quite have a look up the outside, keeping his powder dry once more. There's only 4 corners to go, 3 after this one. Guido Pini, bike number 6, looking for his second victory, his second on the bounce. Brian Uriarte looking for his first. The Italian versus the Spaniard. 1 more corner to go after the right-hander. Here we go, into Lorenzo corner. Guido Pini, bike number 96, Uriarte 51. Guido Pini defensive as you like into the Lorenzo corner, but Brian Uriarte got a bit of a bobble. Will he make the slipstream? Not quite. He had a bit of a bobble coming out to the final corner. Guido Pini looks at his pit board, looks across to the team. Guido Pini wins again from Brian Uriarte. That is 2 from 2 for Guido Pini, and Brian Uriarte second position on debut. The young Spaniard just turned 16 years old, already on the podium, and Alvaro Carpi 16 important points for his championship. And look at this melee going on. It's Cruces. O'Shea's in battle. Salmela, oh, it was so close with Salmela for 4th, but it's Cruces who holds on from Salmela and O'Shea. He was shuffled back on the final lap to 6th position, but it is O'Gorman, Danish, Buchanan and Moodley that round at your top 10. But what else can you say about Guido Pini corner? Absolute perfection from Pini.
Perfection from Pini, but he was pushed all the way by his debutant teammate, and that's what's driven him to excel so much in this race.
The team, they almost cannot quite believe it, and I can't believe it myself that they cannot believe it, considering the fact they've been night and day ahead of everyone else. And really of this year so far from Brian Uriarte, the whole length of the back straight.
Yeah, Uriarte has been absolutely phenomenal. He's shown everyone what he's capable of there, and I think everyone else in this paddock is going to be looking at him right now. And there we have the teammates.
That will be one for the photo collection. That'll be plastered all over the media. The double wheelie from the teammates, 1st and 2nd in race number 1. Well, the number 83, Alvaro Carpi, that's his 4th podium on the spin. 2 wins, and then 2 third places in the last 4 races. He really is making a case for himself to be champion here in Junior GP, but he's going to have to look over his shoulder now, because there's a certain number 96 starting to home into view now His first weekend was at round number 4 back in Portimao. He took 45 points in that full weekend. Came into Jerez this weekend, 45 points off Alvaro Carpi. Is now taking that down to 36 points. He's not second in the championship, but if he continues on like that, he will be homing into view in the championship battle. Guido Pini, what more can you say? He's already been a champion in this series back in the European Talent Cup in 2022. Just missed out last year to Max Keeles, who took his second championship in European Talent Cup. But ever since he made his debut at Portimao 2 months ago now, but it was only his first weekend of the season, took pole position and took a second in the first. Thumbs up from Guido Pini. He's probably got the biggest smile in the entire paddock. When he takes that helmet off, you will see him beaming ear from ear. Goes over to congratulate Alvaro Carpi. That was a solid job from the 83 on the Finnic work. So the STV Leclerc's racing machine. Some of the runners and riders sported some similar liveries, but this was the winning overtake of the race. Guido Pini into turn 8 with Brian Uriarte. A bit of a bobble on the rear end as he exited the final corner on the final lap. Brian Uriarte was hoping, you could just tell, to get the slipstream on the run to it lane. He seemed happy to just sit behind Pini until the exit of the final corner, but that bobble really put paid to his chance of victory. But in turn, Guido Pini got the most perfect exit from the Lorenzo corner you could think of, and the team are extremely pleased. That is 2 victories from the last 2, and of course the first 1-2 of the season for the 72 Artbox racing team. Brian Uriarte, he can't be too disappointed with that. Second place on his first ever race in JuniorGP. You could tell when he came across the line, a bit of a shake of the head, but he'll have a second opportunity, and you know he learned an absolute bucket load from his teammate in that race. Alvaro Carpi, it's been a brilliant last 7 days for the young Spanish rider. Red Bull Rookies Cup champion, and of course extends his championship lead in JuniorGP. Another rider that you expect a big smile from, because even when he was finishing second for most of last year, he was always one of the happiest riders, popping wheelies, celebrating on the podium, jumping around on the podium, and I imagine you'll see more of the same today because he knows his championship lead has been, well, just put under even less pressure. He's tightened his grip on the championship advantage in that race. Good rides just outside of the podium battle between Cruces Samela and of course Eddie O'Shea. He has one more chance to try and get on the podium before he moves on to the World Championship. The MLAV racing team rider, the Brit, who picks up a solid P6 here today, and he'll be hoping for a podium later on. As we just wait for the riders to make their way to the podium, but before that we will hear from your race 1 winner when he talks to our very own Conor Doherty down in the Parc Fermé. So we will be able to hear now from a race 1 winner, Guido Pini. Perfection from Pini is talking to Conor.
Guido, that was an absolutely sensational race. It's been a sensational weekend. Tell us about how it's been.
Wow, amazing weekend. Pole position, race 1 victory. But now we have race 2, another race, another difficult race in a different condition. Will be hot, really hot. But now we have to are happy because we are win. And I want to say thanks to all the team and dedicate to this race to my uncle. Dai, ciao!
In italiano.
Va, una gara difficile, complicata. All'inizio Brian era andato un po' via, è stato bravissimo, ma sono riuscito dopo un po' di giri veloci a recuperarlo. È comunque una gara molto difficile, dopo sarà caldo, sicuramente sarà con vento anche più difficile, ma cercheremo di replicare questo risultato. E devo dire grazie a tutto il team, alla squadra, a Brian, a tutti, e dedico questa gara a tutti quelli che mi sono a guardare a casa e a mio zio Andrea. Ciao!
Thank you. Congratulations.
Well, dedicate a brilliant win to his uncle who was looking on, we hope, for Guido Pini. And he watched him take victory here today in Jerez, race number 1. But this is how it all played out. It was Brian Uriarte who took the whole shot early on from Alvaro Carpi and Jesus Rios. A few riders ran a little bit wide. That was Max Quiles before he would eventually crash out a couple of laps later, making a move on his teammate and Hakim Danish. RB Adatama came a cropper earlier on in the race, head in hand. We hope to see him back out for race number 2. But Brian Uriarte was away and running in the early laps of the race. And he looked to tighten that advantage as Guido Pini made his way into second. Quiles, he crashed out from the top 5 positions, trying to chase down the top 4. But that left this group to battle on with Cruces, Yambias, Salmela, Hakim Danish, O'Shea and O'Gorman all battling before they were joined by even more riders later on in the race. But there was this moment that will be the big talking point from the race. Jesus Rios, who was 2 points behind Alvaro Carpi coming into this race, crashed out of 3rd spot and crucially at that time was ahead of his championship rival. Guido Pini, he slotted in top spot, but Rosenthaler and Boggio went down at turn number 6. Questions what might be asked of Rosenthaler ahead of race number 2. Eddie O'Shea made his way to the front of the battle for 4th, chased closely by Hakim Danish, but it was all chopping and changing a little bit further back. That was Moodley making a move on Havalik. The number 11 of Cruces, he would eventually come to the top of this battle for 4th, but at the front, all eyes were on the battle between the 72 Art Box Racing Team, as it was Guido Pini who picked up his 2nd victory in as many races, just ahead of his debutant teammate Brian Uriarte. A 1-2 for the 72 Art Box Racing squad, and Guido Pini once again taking another victory. What can the Italian do for race number 2? He will be celebrating this victory, but the Italian is in unstoppable form at the moment. Well, unstoppable in Jerez. Pini has been perfect so far this weekend, as we see Emilio Alzamor, team manager for the 72 Art Box squad. He'll be receiving the team's trophy. Alvaro Carpi showing the swans of destiny as Alvaro Carpi, as he comes onto the podium, as he extends his championship advantage. Brian Uriarte was a little bit miffed as he crossed the line for 2nd spot, but he'll be taking full advantage of the knowledge he's gained from his teammate, who just pepped him by 0.2 of a second in the run to the line. Guido Pini, your race winner in race number 1 of JuniorGP, as Emilio Alzamora will receive the team's prize from Marc-Jean Denou, FIM representative, who will also hand Alvaro Carpi his 3rd place trophy. And once more, showing the swans on the podium is Carpi. 2nd position goes to Brian Uriarte. Gets to the trophy. He'll be absolutely delighted with that one, and he'll be hoping to go one better in race number 2, demoting his teammate Guido Pini, who takes his 2nd victory. He's doubled up in the last 2. Guido Pini is your JuniorGP race 1 winner.
I think that's one of those podiums where everyone is going to be happy.
Eventually, the Italian national anthem rings proud across Jerez for Guido Pini. He'll be hoping to double up in the Andalusian sun later on today, but for now it's a spray of the bubbly, the rosewater bubbly that will be, because we're all far too young to be drinking some of that Prosecco on the podium.
Speaking to Pini earlier, he did say that he expects the conditions to be different, the temperatures are going to be rising, and that could mean a different kind of race, but for now he's going to be incredibly content with his results so far. And there it is. Guido Pini, race winner, followed by Brian Uriarte and Alvaro Carpe onto the podium. Fourth, Adrian Cruzes. Fifth, Rico Salmela. Sixth, Eddie O'Shea. Seventh, Casey James O'Gorman. Eighth, Hakim Danish. Ninth, Cormac Buchanan. What a battle they had, as they were all chasing fourth. In 10th, Rocher Moodley was followed by Alessandro Morosi in 11th, Leo Ramastoffer in 12th, Facundo Yambias in 13th, Marcus Uriarte in 14th, and Milan Pawelek in 15th, Bolonyane in 16th, and Lennox Fomara in 17th. In 18th, Evan Belford, 19th, Eduardo Liguori, 20th, Daniel Shauril, 21st, Amonodaki, 22nd, Cesare Tiezzi, 23rd, Jack Rafid Fuetisan, 24th, Leonardo Abruzzo, 25th, Kotaro Uchiumi, 26th, Kevin Farkas, 27th, Owen Van Tricht, 28th, Jacob Rosenthaler, and then 4 riders who failed to complete the race, Doroboggio, De Jesus Rios, Maximo Quiles, and Adi Abitama.
And this is how the championship now looks. Alvaro Carpe on 106 points, 10 ahead of Adrian Cruzes, who took an important 4th spot ahead of Marcos Uriarte, who dropped to 16 points further back. Jesus Rios, after that crash, is 18 points further back. Alessandro Morosi, Cormac Buchanan, who battled his way into the top 9, and 6th ahead of Guido Pini, 36 points back now in 7th ahead of Max Quiles and Casey O'Gorman. Running at the top 10 is Rico Salmela on 47 points ahead of Eddie O'Shea, who battled hard for P6 in his 2nd ever race before his final race later on today in JuniorGP. Danish, Yambiash, Rocher Midley and Jakob Rosenthaler round at the top 15. They have Leo Ramsdorfer and Brian Uriarte, who's now into 17th after that 2nd position. Daniel Shauril on 20 points in 18th have Dodo Boggio. We hope to see him in race number 2 ahead of Marcus Ruda, Evan Belford, Guillaume Plonk, Milan Pawelek, Eamon Odaki and Leonardo Abruzzo. KJ Monignani on 5 points in 26th ahead of RB Aditama, who came a cropper of the race in from race number 1. We'll see him for race number 2 of Angus Grenfell, Lennox Pomara and Katara Uchimi running out the top 30. Well, that is it from race number 1 here in JuniorGP. Race number 2 will be back out at 2 o'clock local time here at Circuito de Jerez Angel Nieto. But do not go anywhere, as we're going to have race number 1 from the European Talent Cup coming up in just a few moments' time. Can Marco Morelli from deep on the grid hold back Carlos Cano in that championship? But before we get on to that, we will see from lights out, Brian Uriarte getting the whole shot from the line with Jesus Rios, Carpe and Guido Pini elbow to elbow in the run up to turn number 1. With Salmela on 27 just behind them. But charging in turn number 1, it was Brian Uriarte that was charging at the head of the pack. But as we want to highlight, race number 2 will be coming up a little bit later on today, this afternoon at 2 o'clock local time, where Guido Pini will be hoping to make it a perfection in Jerez with a double down under in Andalucia. But he'll be coming under a lot of pressure from his teammate Brian Uriarte. He'll be hoping to take his first victory in the class. With Alvaro Carpe, he'll be hoping to tighten up his grip on the championship with victory later on here today. Race number 2 coming up at 2 o'clock, but we still have 5 more races with European Talent Cup race number 1. Then we move into Moto 2 before JuniorGP race number 2 coming up at 2 o'clock. Then, of course, European Talent Cup race number 2, and then Stock rounding out the day. But Guido Pini takes honours here in race number 1, and he'll be hoping to make it a treble in the last 3 races in race number 2 coming up later on.